T-Bone and Heather on Star 98.3 and 97.7 The Bay.
It's 9 minutes after 8 o'clock, 8:09. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. And joining us on the phone lines this morning is Dr. Polsky. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Well, you might want to ask me in a couple days.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know. Well, let's just start there, shall we? Tomorrow at 5 p.m., it's not Katie bar the door, but things are going to be opening up on somewhat of a restricted level from somebody in the healthcare industry. How are you viewing that?
I think this is really going to come down to how responsible individual citizens are.
So we're doomed.
Or we're doomed. So, you know, we can joke, but if and we've been talking for the last couple of months that, you know, the governor can issue decrees and through other agencies, but ultimately what it comes down to is how responsible people are going to act. And I'm not disagreeing with gradual reopenings. It's not lost on any of us that there are a lot of people with basic jobs who are trying to provide for their families. And I'm happy to see that some of them will have an opportunity to get back to work at this point.
Right.
We had a Zoom conference. It was put together by our county's Office of Economic Development and our county library for business owners. This was on Tuesday. We had over 100 business owners and managers on the call.
Wow.
And what really came through from that call was how many business owners are truly genuinely concerned about the health and well-being of their employees.
Right.
And I think that's something that really needs to be emphasized, that each time any of us goes into a store, we potentially could be carrying the virus and may not feel sick, and there's a potential we could transmit it to others. This is not a business we're going into. This is a building that has actual human beings who are trying to make a living to provide for their family.
Right.
And everyone really needs to be considerate of those people. You know, none of them are getting rich. They're just there to try to do their jobs. And every unnecessary trip and not wearing their face mask properly, other sorts of basic hygiene puts those people at risk of illness.
Dr. Polsky, let me ask you this. Has the Calvert County Board of Commissioners, have they talked to you? Because they do have some leeway here. The governor has given them, put them in a position where they can decide if they want to do something different than stage one that the governor has stated. Have they talked to you at all about what your thoughts are on reopening?
So we've had discussions at the county level. Actually, we've been having discussions for the last couple of weeks. I think the tricky thing is that we knew, so I'll use a bit of an analogy. Hopefully it's not too much of a stretch. We knew we were going to have to play a game of basketball, but we didn't know what the rules were going to be. We didn't know if it was going to be a 5-on-5 game, a 3-on-3 game.
Right.
Is there a 3-point line? Are we just playing a game of horse?
Right.
And so actually discussing specifics has been a little bit difficult. But we have had a lot of preliminary discussions. And again, that Zoom conference with the business owners is indicative of that. We knew we were going to be moving forward, and so we've been trying to do as much preparation as possible. There is a Board of Health meeting on Tuesday where we'll have more formal discussions with the commissioners.
So we're talking with Dr. Larry Polsky, who's the health official for Calvert County. Doctor, I had a question, and I've done what I can do. I've Googled it every way I know to Google it.
Right.
If you don't know the answer to this, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But I was thinking about something since the last time we met. So I saw a thing, and it said, 80% of the people who are tested for the virus, they come back negative. The basic number is somewhere around 20% of the tests come back positive. Okay, so let's work from that number. Let's say there's 100 people tested, 20 of them come back positive for COVID-19. Of those 20 that are tested, is there a percentage of those 20 that end up in the hospital? What is the percentage of people who test positive who actually then end up having to go to the hospital?
I'm going to have to get back to you with a direct. I hate to give out percentages that I'm not absolutely sure of.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I haven't been able to find it either.
And part of it's a little bit skewed because people who are very sick are more likely to get tested. So you have to think about what we call the denominator, who's actually getting tested and then what percentage.
Right.
I think in a general sense, what's helpful for people listening is, as you've mentioned before, that the vast majority of people who get the virus, they're going to have a mild to moderate illness and they'll recover. But what we're really concerned about are the more vulnerable population. And again, this plays back to as more businesses and more recreational spots start to reopen, the people that I'm concerned about are not so much the 20 or 30-year-old healthy people. It's the 60-some or 70-some-year-old grandparent of that individual who may end up getting exposed. Those are the people who need to continue to really think twice about taking unnecessary trips to stores, congregating in places. And that gets to one of the corollaries, I think we get too caught up in, is it 95%, 98%, whatever percent are going to recover. The real issue is that for that other percentage, that those people end up in an intensive care unit, that then has domino effects for that entire hospital. So as of this coming week, hospitals are now starting to do non-emergency surgeries for the first time in about 2 months.
Right.
And if we start seeing, and so Calvert Hospital has a limited number of intensive care unit beds. Even a half dozen extra admissions will start to require a shutdown of the ORs again. And so people who have been waiting for knee replacements, hip replacements, gallbladder surgery, cancer staging procedures, they've all been on hold. Those are people in pain. Those are people who are, you can only imagine if you had a preliminary test that showed that you have cancer or that you might have cancer and you're now waiting for a month or two for the next step, the emotional...
I can't imagine.
Right. So everybody, they need to put things in context. It's not just about them. That there are others in their community who may suffer as a result of their actions, and they just need to continue to act as responsibly as they can.
Now, as a health officer for a county in the state of Maryland, let's say you're out and about or somebody communicates to you that people they are not doing social distancing, they're not wearing masks, their businesses are open. Do you have a role in, do other county health officers, can they shut down or go back to the stay-at-home order? How does that work?
We do have discretion to close businesses if need be. I will say to this point in Calvert, and as far as I know in St. Mary's and Charles County, we haven't had to resort to that step. Typically, our first step is one of two things. Either, it depends on who gets the call. So either one of our environmental health inspectors will go out. If we see there are violations, we talk to the manager. We explain to them, what needs to change and the consequences if they don't, which could mean shutting down their business. Or law enforcement may receive the first call, and that could be either a sheriff's deputy or state trooper. And so to this point, yes, there have been some businesses that things have happened that have required either health department staff or law enforcement, but we have not needed to go a second step to actually shut a business down.
Oh, that's good news.
We got some warmer weather coming our way. Is that in any way, shape, or form, does that help in this fight, or does it hurt?
Or do we not know with this virus?
That's a really good question. I think we have two variables that move in opposite directions. So still, we don't know. As we've talked about before, this is a new virus. We know that most of this type of virus, a general family, will start to subside as the weather gets warmer and more humid. The humidity is really important. So that should diminish transmission to some degree. But on the other side, the variable that moves in the other direction is we're going to have the first really nice weekend in a long time, that there are going to be more people who want to get out. And so you're going to have more people in contact with others, and that certainly increases transmission. So when you have two different things are moving in opposite directions, we don't know kind of which is going to sit on the seesaw heavier amount to push it. And again, we get back to ultimately it comes down to individual behavior.
And we've done pretty well in Southern Maryland, right? Didn't we talk about that last week, how people have been pretty good about that and wearing their masks and doing social distancing We just need to carry through with that.
People have, and our numbers have been lower. So T talked about a 20% positive rate, and that is the statewide percentage. In St. Mary's in Calvert County, it's been closer to about 13%.
Wow.
I will say this last week, because we're tracking week by week. This last week it was at 15% in Calvert. Now, that could just be a slight normal fluctuation in statistics. We don't expect things to be rock solid all the time.
Right.
But we know from cell phone data that over the last 2 weeks, people have been leaving their house more. And so what we don't know is if this was just a little statistical wobble, that 13 moving to 15%, or whether that's a trend. And so I do have a little bit of concern. And now with the governor lifting some restrictions, we'll have to see what happens over these next couple of weeks.
Well, I'm glad you're keeping an eye on it for us.
Dr. Polsky, I will say to you, I know you probably have a busy day. Get a nap, because I think you better buckle up, buddy.
And thank you so much, and thank you for taking time, Dr. Polsky. And you've been doing this. We've been doing it for 9-10 weeks, and we really do appreciate your time. And stay healthy.
Well, thanks, and I do appreciate the time and the ability to talk to the viewers in Southern Maryland.
Yeah,
all right,
great.
thank
Thanks,
you,
man.
sir.
Have a good day.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, eat your Wheaties, buddy.
That's what he said. That's what he
good
said in the
Lord.
beginning. Here we go.
Here we go. Right.
But we've been saying that all morning long.
Yeah.
You have to still. It's not. Woohoo!
It's not Caligula. Listen,
No.
all you maniacs out there,
right.
stop. That's not what it means.
Restaurants aren't open. There, you can't go, and the bars are still not open. This is like manufacturing, church, and hairdressers. Okay,
Yeah.
This is a
And
small step.
So much of this, you see it in almost every walk of life. So much of this is ruled to the lowest common denominator, and it sucks for the rest of us. You're the reason we can't have fireworks.
You're the reason we can't have nice things.
You're the reason we can't have nice things.
So just if you are going to go out this weekend, just remember masks, wash your
Yes.
hands, try to stay out of groups of 10 or more people.
If you've, I don't want to sound too much like Jeff Foxworthy here, but if you've ever asked somebody to hold your beer, you're the problem.
Right.
You are. I know
Right.
you don't think you are, but you are. So just dial it back, you maniac, and let us get a handle on this. Let us get back to work, and let us get some things going. And then hopefully there'll be a vaccine, and you could be as crazy as you want to be.
There you go.
But can you please?
Please help us out. Help a sister out.
And you know who you are.
Right.
You really do. You know who you are. And so, and everybody out there knows who I'm talking about. So if they're not going to do it, then you have to do it.
Right.
And even if that means you need to shoot them in the neck with a dart gun, then you do it.
Don't shoot him.
Stunk. The dart, man.
There's a dart in my neck.
No. Do what you got to do.
Very
But you,
vague old school reference.
You got to reel these maniacs in so that we can all, the
So
rest
we can
of us,
get back to it.
the collective sane, right? Right. That we don't end up on the roof screaming at the neighbors. The rest of us can start to get our life back.
Amen. Yes.
Right, exactly. We cannot allow our life to be dictated by the lowest common denominator, and that is you.
Me?
Well,
Yes, you.
sometimes it is you as well.
No, not me.
822, phone lines are open for you. If you want to give us a call this morning, you certainly can.
Southern Maryland.